All right, our next guest is Joshua Edward Smith, Year 12 Hale student and an elite swimmer not only at Hale and in Western Australia but also Australia. He received honours for swimming in Year 11, which is really rare to do, and we're also joined by Chris Gard, his swimming mentor at Hale. So, Josh, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you giving up a little bit of time. You're on, you're obviously learning at home. Thanks for joining us.
No, thanks for having me. It is a pleasure.
Excellent. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Gard. He's going to roll you through a few questions, and then I'll have a few at the back end.
Sweet.
Hi, Josh.
Hey, Gardy, how you doing?
Good, mate. You came through the junior school. What have you been some of your sporting highlights throughout each sub-school during Hale? So junior school, middle school, senior school.
Yeah, so I came to Hale Junior School in Year 3. And by then, I didn't even think about swimming really. My dad was a swimmer. I started in swimming in Year 4. I came second at the carnival, and just wanted to come first. Came second in Year 5, and then took the win in Year 6. So that was sort of a big step in my swimming career so far. I kept playing footy all the way through the junior school, and in the middle school kept playing footy, and then I had to stop that in about, just after Year 8 because of swimming, and then, it's just been swimming ever since.
Oh, good, mate. You're obviously a proud Bunteen House student, one of the best.
Yeah.
What are some of your house sport highlights when you've been coming through school?
Yeah, so I've played house sport water polo for, I think, the entire time I've been at Hale in the senior school, and we took the trophy for water polo last year, which was a big moment for us. It was great. Me and Tallis Davies and I were playing all the way through, so that was pretty cool. Year 8, I took the cross country win for Bunteen, and which was a big surprise for many because I'm a swimmer, not really a runner. So that was cool. Obviously, every swimming carnival I love because I'm good at swimming, but also just like house athletics carnivals and cross countries and stuff. I really like getting behind the house, so it's always good fun.
Oh, good, mate. Obviously, you touched on playing PSA competition. Obviously, swimming's probably one of your PSA highlights, but in terms of the best sporting win that you've ever been involved in, what is that from a school perspective, and why do you still remember that to this day?
We won a game of footy in Year 7 or 8. I can't remember, but I just remember being within in the footy team. It was such a big moment for us. I wish I could remember the details, but I just remember there was a footy team where we won a game, and that was really cool for me because being in a team sport isn't something as a swimmer you're really a part of because it's more individual. There's relays and stuff, but as a whole team, to work something and to get it is that was pretty cool. But yeah, obviously, Year 7 taking the inter-school swimming win, we were such a dominant team, and it was our first real taste of inter-school swimming, which was really cool. Taking the 200 free win last year, getting the record, that was a race that I'd sort of been a bit nervous leading up towards the 200 free at PSA. I knew I'd be tired going into that race because I would have had a few before. So I was going for that record last year, and I got the win and got it, so that was really cool. That was probably a big highlight for me.
Josh, I'll just chip in there. You talk a little about your footy. Obviously, you played footy before I turned up here at Hale. If I was going to ask your peers and your teammates to describe you as a footy player, what do you reckon they'd say? What was Josh Edward Smith, the footy player, like? Give us a bit of a scale of toughness. Were you athletic? What did you bring to the table?
Picture young Nat Fyfe and I don't know, bit of Dusty Martin, bit of Pav, just sort of all round brilliant footy player. Yeah.
So just a mixture of all the best bits, basically.
Yeah. I was, in all honesty, I was a pretty average footy player, especially for someone who grew up, years and years of Auskick. I enjoyed it. I never really took it seriously, but I just sort of had fun with it and enjoyed it.
Good stuff.
Yeah, good. You mentioned, the team aspect of those PSA sports that wasn't sort of there so much in the swimming, in terms of the relays and more of an individual type thing. But As in terms of being part of a team, do you remember a player or teammate, past or present, that has sort of been the best team man you've been associated with, and what made him so special, him or her, because it could be obviously a club person too?
Yeah, so like you said, swimming's more of an individual sport, but you go away on teams, and that sort of becomes like the team aspect. Is you like traveling with people, and obviously relays, they're a big part. Last year nationals, so 2019, we were in Adelaide. I had a really good mate of mine. This is club, obviously. So I had a really good mate of mine who'd moved to our club 6 months prior, probably. Really hard trainer. He wasn't quite at like the top level, but he was a really good swimmer. Trained like a demon, and he was just always really happy and positive, really supportive. Like I said, trained super hard. And we got to the competition. We were all expecting big things because he's been training so hard. First individual race, he tears his bicep. So he was unable to swim for the rest of the meet. And this was on the first day. So he was gutted. Everyone was gutted for him because we were so excited to see this guy swim. But he didn't say a word of anything remotely like complaining. The whole week, he turned up to every single session. Just was like the loudest in the crowd, wanted to make sure that everyone was okay. It didn't even bring up the fact that he'd injured himself on the first day and it was a bad situation for him. He just focused on, making sure everyone else was okay and doing what he could. So that's
Yeah, that's an awesome example.
I remember it being awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant example.
That was really cool.
No, last question from me before I hand over to Mr. Bauer. But you're obviously still very young and only part way through your swimming career. If you were to fast forward the clock, let's say 15 years or so, what would you like to have accomplished in swimming and life in general?
Yeah, so in swimming, I'm sort of taking it one step at a time. Obviously, I've got goals that I want to achieve, like making the Olympics and those real outcome goals, but by the end, I just want to be able to look back and say that, I did everything I could have. I worked as hard as I could have. So in terms of, like, if I were to, fast forward 15 years, say, and look back, I think that's what I want to really just be able to think about what I did, is just, I gave it everything I had, didn't leave anything in the pool, And, in life, I think if I could take my passion that I have for swimming and use it in whatever career I end up doing, I think, I'll be able to work really hard because I have so much passion for swimming and I'm able to work really hard as a result. So if I can just use that passion that I have for swimming and just take it into whatever I end up doing, I think I'd be in a pretty good place.
That's a great response, mate. Now, the environment, I think the world faces itself in now with the coronavirus and, we're transitioning to online learning and there'll be a lot of hurdles for boys. One is obviously sport being taken out of their lives, and then there'll be, some financial consequences at home, potentially medical issues with elderly relatives. If I bring back to your swimming career, so what are some of the hurdles you've faced, and how have you had to deal with them that might help you, get through the next weeks and months?
Yeah, so my swimming career so far has been pretty much just like constant improvement up until about 6 months ago, and then at training I sort of went through like I don't want to say dark period, but it sort of was, where I was just like unmotivated. Like the times were okay, but I felt like they weren't where I needed to be if I was gonna push for the Olympic team. And I was thinking about the team so much, and everyone was talking to me about it, and it was a lot for me to handle. I ended up at one training session I broke down crying because there was like so much going on, and I sort of sat down with my coach, and he was like, "Yeah, I think you need to go and talk to someone, who's been there." So it ended up being my physio connected me to this ex-Olympic kayaker called Steve Bird, who's a great guy. And I ended up meeting with him and just sort of talking about, like, he studies psychology, and we ended up just talking about, what I was feeling, plans to sort of deal with different situations. And, you know, he helped me a lot in that way. So I think if you're sort of struggling, I think you just need to find someone or like a group of people. Obviously, you know, it's a difficult time because you sort of need to keep your distance, but maybe over the phone or even just within your family, just find someone who you could talk to and just, you know, if you have any problems, it's really good to sort of talk about those problems and get them off your chest instead of just trying to internally deal with them. So that'd be my advice. If you're struggling, just sort of talk about it. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable with someone who you're comfortable with. So that'd probably be my advice.
Yeah, very wise words, Joshua. Now we're going to ask a few questions on a lighter note that we're asking everyone. And this is, probably going to judge your character more than the first bit of this interview. Now, Birkenstocks. They quite a historic form of footwear that started in Jerusalem long time ago. They seem to be very popular in Perth. Do you have them? What are your views on them? And should they be an acceptable form of footwear in modern society?
I have a pair, and I reckon they're one of my favourite pairs of shoes. You know, they're just like they're stylish, comfy. You know, you can dress them up, you can dress them down.
That's a disgraceful answer. That is, you've got your flaws. Personally, anyway, on to the next one. Everyone's got room for improvement, Josh. The second question: meat pies. So you're not a boarder here, so you probably don't see this as much on Tuesdays as Pie Day here. The boarders get pies, the staff get pies. We see some of the boarders decide to, excavate their pie, lift the roof off, sauce in, roof back on, or just straight with a fork, which some people find, anti-Australian. How does Josh Edward Smith, I know you probably don't eat meat pies, but hypothetically, if you were to eat a meat pie, how would you eat it?
I have had my fair share of meat pies in the past. So I don't do this outside of school. Because I think when I'm outside of school, it's easier just to eat the pie like a sandwich. But at school, you know, if you're walking around and stuff, I get a fork, take the lid off the pie and then eat the lid, whack a bit of sauce in with the meat, eat the meat, and then demolish the pastry. I reckon it's a pretty good way to go, I think. Like a sort of deconstructed meat pie.
You've got some issues, mate, to be honest. And that's disturbing. When we come back to school, I think we'll have to pick up on a few of these things. But last question, what are you going to be doing to keep yourself busy in the coming weeks and months? And what advice do you have all the kids? There'll be kids and a lot of boarders listening to this all over the state. What advice would you give to them?
Yeah, I think being able to just sort of be adaptable and use, what you can at home. I was able to go out the other day and run around to a few equipment stores and pick up like some medicine balls, some free weights, and some plates and stuff just for me to use at home. Although it was pretty chockers at the equipment stores. They had all been like ransacked because everyone else had the same idea, obviously. But I'm going to be doing with that equipment just some like circuits that we do at home, so like some core exercises, some equivalent to a gym session, like some free weight exercises and stuff. At the moment, I'm trying to get out in the mornings to the beach because obviously the pool is closed. So I've been trying to do a few beach sessions and go on a few runs, which obviously won't be possible if we go into like complete lockdown, which I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But, just being adaptable, doing what you can, being creative, I think is probably a big one. Like if you have, I don't know, like a box at home, doing like some box jumps on that or something. Just being adaptable and, making the most of the situation.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Josh. We'll let you go. Please, stay safe, stay healthy. Keep good luck with your studies and over the break. And we look forward to seeing you back here, hopefully in the not too distant future, mate.
Look forward to coming back.
Thanks,
Thank you
Josh.
very much.
Cheers,
Thanks,
mate.
Scotty. Thanks
No
for
worries.
the power.
All right, catch you later.